on, on getting ourselves grounded. So lie down on your backs and take a body scan from your head to your toes. Just start noticing every part of your body that's connected to your mat. And pay attention to your breath. Does it feel shallow this morning? Or is it light or full of depth? Are your muscles in your lungs, or rather in your ribs area, your intercostal muscles, are they feeling tight? Is a breath coming with ease, or does it feel a bit harder to come by? Just notice these things and really pay attention to the weight of your body against the surface that you're lying on. Unclench your jaw if you find that it's clenched. Maybe open and close your mouth. You could tighten all the muscles in your face and then release them. And then when you're ready, lift your arms overhead and we'll take banana pose or Bananasana. So what we do is start by connecting your palms together so that they're kind of in a prayer grip. And then begin walking your palms over to the left side of your mat so that they're pointing up towards the left corner of your mat. At the same time, walk your feet over to the left side of your mat. So we're kind of looking like a banana here. Middle of the body. If you need to make any arrangements by shifting your hips over, so be it. But once you get there, you're welcome to do anything you like with your hands. Maybe you interlace them or grab on one wrist. And then you might try putting your right heel, crossing it over your left ankle and see if that helps you stay over to the side. Once you're here, take deep breaths. Notice where you feel opening or lengthening in your body. Take one more round of breath and then begin to unwind, bringing your body parts or extremities back into center. And then walk them over to the opposite side of your mat. Banana pose on the other side. So our arms go to the top right corner of our mat. And you can take any arm movement or arm holding that feels good. And then our legs go over to the right side of our mat. Maybe you cross left ankle over right. Breathe here. Notice if you're clenching in any part of your body, can you let go and allow the earth below you to support you? Again, notice any tension in the face, in your jaw, especially in the morning. I know when I'm sleeping, when I wear a night guard for it, but I clench my teeth. So I always feel it, especially in the morning. Nice to try to find some opening here. One more round of breath. All right, let's walk back to center. Start to walk, press the soles of your feet into the mat, bending your knees. Let's take an early happy baby. So bring knees into your chest, stamp your feet on the sky. And it might, we normally do this towards the end of class. So just notice if it feels a little bit more tight. A tip I have would be to, if you notice that your glutes are starting to lift off the mat, reach for your ankles or shins or something higher up on your legs to allow you to stay connected. Remember to breathe. You can move side to side or take any movements that feel good. Really getting into our hips. And let's bring our knees into our chest. You can bring hands to your shins and rock side to side again if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll make our way to a tall seat so you can bring hands behind your thighs and start to rock and roll the length of your spine. If that feels painful at all, maybe take another way by pressing into a tall seat. My glasses are already fogging up. All right, we'll sit tall here. Hi, friends. So sitting tall, if it feels okay to settle your eyes closed, go ahead and do that now. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Notice your spine, lengthen your spine up towards the sky. Draw your shoulders slightly back and stack your head over your shoulders. And we'll take a breathing exercise to further ground ourselves. And the purpose of grounding is so that we can be more rooted when we make decisions. We can tap further into our intuition, our inner knowing. So the breathing exercise I'd like to do is a 3-part breath. And I can't recall if we did this together a couple weeks ago, but we might have. And so first I'll describe it. What we'll do is inhale into our lower belly first. So that's 1/3 of the breath. So imagine just filling up the lower belly. And the second third will be filling up our lower lungs. Third part is filling up all the way to the tip of your chest, top of your chest. And then releasing in the same pattern. So it'd be an exhale release from the upper chest and from your lower lungs and then your belly. So we'll do that together. I'll walk us through it, and then we can take some moments of silence and do it on our own. So first, release your air. Sit really tall. Maybe put your hand on your belly if you'd like. Inhale into your lower belly. It's 1/3 of your breath, remember. Now inhale into your lower lungs. And then fill up all the way to the top of your chest. Hold at the top. And then the release, first from the upper chest, it's 1/3 of your breath. Then from your lower lungs. And then all the way, empty all the way out. Gentle hold at the bottom. Inhale, lower belly up. Inhale, lower lungs. Inhale, full chest. Hold. Exhale, top of the chest. Exhale, lower lungs. Exhale, the rest of your belly. So take a couple more of these on your own, and we'll sit quietly here. Do one more round wherever you are. Take your time. Whenever you're done, you might gently blink your eyes open. Perhaps bring some movement into your neck. Could drop one ear to one shoulder. Hold it for a bit. You could take the other side, using these beginning moments to check in with ourselves. Draw our awareness inward so we know what areas of our body, mind need to be filled up. When you're ready, if you've balanced out the sides of your neck, bring your chin down to your chest, pardon me, and lift your chest up to your chin. Notice the lengthening along the back of your neck. I did this yesterday and I had such a tweaky feeling in my lower back. It was just a nice reminder of where I needed to soften and open up. And we'll bring our gaze back up. Inhale, lift arms overhead. And exhale, bring your right hand to your left thigh. So we're crossing it over. Good. And then our opposite hand comes behind our glute. So we're sitting tall with a gentle twist. Make sure your spine is really long. No need to pull too hard to twist. This is just a gentle opening. All right, inhale, come back to center. Lift your arms overhead, another breath in. Exhale, take it to the other side. Keep your spine really long. Notice where your body is connected to the earth. So always returning to this place of steadiness, stability, safety. On an exhale, return to center. And then we'll make our way to a tabletop position. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, hips over knees. Take these earrings out because I realize they'll probably be annoying with my headphones. So once you get to tabletop, get curious and start moving. So you might do the same thing every time we come to this place, but perhaps you change it up. Or maybe you do something different. Maybe you close your eyes. Notice the quality of your breath. And take any movements. It could be side to side or cat-cow. High five. Hi, buddy. All right, let's find stillness together. So plant your hands into the mat, long spine. And then I encourage you to check in with your finger pads. So we want to spread our fingers wide and press our weight into our finger pads, firing up through our forearms, taking pressure out of our wrists. Option to curl toes under or keep them flat down. Let's inhale, drop your belly, shine your heart, open your clavicles, lift your tailbone, cow pose. Exhale for cat, round your spine, pop up through the back of your heart. Draw your tailbone down, draw your head down. Inhale for cow pose. And exhale for cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Take one more round of that on your own. Once you're done, make your way to child's pose or any other resting posture that feels nice. So you could bring your knees wide, big toes come to touch, shift your hips back and stretch your arms forward. And then notice, I know that I'm out of the view here, but notice if you're, how that feels for you. If your arms overhead feels like it's painful on your shoulders, bring your arms down by your side. And notice where you feel sensation in your body in this child's pose. Try shifting your hips back a lot as you stretch your arms forward and breathe. If you can connect forehead to mat, go ahead and do so. Something I like to do here is take really deep breaths and notice where I feel it. A lot of times it's in between my ribs. Your belly can drop far down as you inhale in this pose. Notice how big you can expand your belly and chest on the inhale. And this posture is here for you at any time. You're welcome to take a resting posture. So know that that's always the case, and you can always take any variations that are calling to you. Let's press into tabletop and then make your way to downward facing dog. So from tabletop, shift your hands a bit forward in front of your shoulders and maybe a little bit wider. Press into your finger pads and start to curl your toes under, lifting your hips and pedal it out. Take any bends and straightening in your legs that feel good And always pay attention to where you're connected to the earth. So that in this case means coming back to where our fingers are placed. And then we'll eventually, focus on the toes as well. But I think the hand placement, because we have our whole hands connected, that's an important piece here. If you'd like to shift into high plank to help you determine length between hands and feet, that's an option to get a better gauge of how you might set up your down dog. And then pay attention. Let's start from our hands. Press into the finger pads. Press into your thumb pad so that the top of your thumbnail is pointing up. So it's kind of a subtle movement. And then we're scanning up our arms. Our forearms are rotating inwards towards one another. The eyes or the creases of our elbows are pointing towards one another. And our biceps are rotating out. And so it's kind of this counter movement where you see forearms rotate in, biceps rotate out. Stay pressing through your finger pads. And then bend your knees a lot as you lift your hips up. Draw your lower ribs in. If you notice they're sinking down towards the earth. Take a deep breath in. First, release your breath. Inhale. And let it go. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, walk, step, or jump, top of your space. Know that if head below heart does give you trouble, you can always come out, ease out of it at any point. So forward fold, if head below heart feels okay, you can drop your head down, maybe widen your stance a lot. If you are, if you'd like to keep your head above, maybe you bend your knees and put your forearms on your thighs and see if you can work with that. Otherwise, option to drop your head. I love just looking underneath me and seeing what things look like upside down. I think my yard looks totally different upside down. That's just a fun thing to do. Grab for opposite elbow if that feels good. Maybe open and close your jaw here. Shake out your head. Bring your weight more into your toes. And then let's release our hands. Bring your big toes to touch. And then before we even start to move up, pay attention to where you're putting weight in your feet. So spread your toes wide and notice if you have more weight on the inner sides of your feet, like that's how I typically do or typically am with my flat feet. But we want to find that equal distribution amongst the four corners of our feet. So big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and your heel, the edges of your heels. So from here, let's soften the knees. Imagine you have roots growing into the earth and slowly start to rise up like we're a blooming flower. Let your head arrive last. And just pay attention to what sensations you feel as you start to lift up. Is there any lightheadedness or anything like that? You can always drop your chin down, lift your arms overhead if it feels like a lot for the transition. And we'll meet in Samastitihi, standing at attention. So feet connected to the earth, tall through our front of our body, our heart shining forward. Let's bring our hands to our heart. Thumbs connect to our heart. If it feels okay, soften your eyes, close, and take a round of breath. And I recommend, or I offer to you, to set an intention for your practice. We can use yoga as our container or as our space to work on things that directly apply off the mat. And today I offer up an intention of grounding. You might use a mantra like, I am safe, or I am complete, I am supported. Once you set your intention, let's seal it in with a breath, first releasing our air. Inhale, fill all the way up, maybe from belly all the way to the top of your chest. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale, mountain pose, lift arms overhead and pause. Noticing your feet again. So always coming back to where we're connected to the earth. Widen your feet. So maybe you lift your full toes off the mat and then let them land back down. Good. And notice just where you're putting pressure in your feet. Scanning up our body, engage your quads. So your kneecaps will lift away from your shins. Draw your belly button in towards your spine just slightly, and then rotate your fingers in to face one another. Good, one more breath in. Exhale, let's take a baby back bend. Cactus your arms, just open your heart. It can be really subtle for this first one. Gaze up, shoulder blades come to kiss on your back. Notice how your lower back feels. You might want to engage your glutes to come out of your hips a bit. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Hinge at your hips, melt your heart down. Release. Inhale, let's take a halfway lift. You can bring hands to shins, thighs, or the earth. Shoulder blades come onto our back. Yeah, draw your belly button to your spine and avoid locking your knees out. You might soften the knees slightly. Good, one more breath in. And exhale, bring it down, forward fold. Inhale, we'll rise to mountain pose. Take it at your pace, rooting into the earth. So envisioning roots growing down into the mat. Mountain pose. One breath in. Back bend on the breath out. So very subtle. It can be subtle, or you can take it as deep as you'd like. We're still warming up, so maybe take it a little bit easier on yourself. Inhale, connect back to mountain pose. And exhale, fold. Hinge at your hips, melt it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's do one more round of that Sun A series. Root to rise, so connecting feet to the mat, we lift and rise, mountain pose. Lift all the way up. On the exhale, maybe a slightly bigger back bend, gaze up, let your shoulder blades support your heart. Inhale, rise. And exhale, melt your heart down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, let's take it to high plank and then lower all the way down to your belly. So you can take this super slowly, practicing bringing our elbows in towards our ribs as we lower all the way down. Notice we've got lots of bugs out here, so notice anything that might be coming up around your mat. If you're practicing outside or maybe inside, you never know. Okay, so on our bellies, let's zip our legs up, press your toenails into the earth. Maybe your knees will lift with how much pressure you're placing into your toenails. Gazes down, bring hands under your shoulders, elbows straight up. Inhale, cobra pose. Life. You were just smelling me. Cobra pose. He's just curious. So our gaze is down in cobra pose. We might slide our hands back towards our heart to lift our heart even more forward. Pardon the dog noises. It's kind of a zoo, but we love it. Stay here for a couple more breaths. And then release. Bring one ear down to the mat. Let your arms come down by your side and let go completely. Feel supported by the earth. Yeah, bring arms down by your side. You can release them from the earth. Let go of all the muscles in your body. Good, bring your chin back to center. Hands come underneath your shoulders. Press into tabletop. Option to take any cat-cow or any other movements as you transition. And we'll make our way to downward facing dog. So remember, reconnecting with our finger pads, trusting that the ground beneath us has our back, has our hands, I guess, more specifically. Good. Notice where you feel in this downward facing dog versus the ones before. Not for any purpose of judgment, but just noticing, getting in tune with the subtle changes that happen in our body. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, walk to the top of your space, forward fold. Take a halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, let it go. Inhale, we'll rise to chair pose. So root your feet into the earth, bend your knees, sit your hips back, and set it up. So you want to notice, where's your pelvis throughout all of this? And we want our pelvis to be kind of like, if you put your hands on your hips and you touch the front of your hip bone, just notice how that's tilted. We want it kind of in line with our torso. So just notice if there's a lot of forward tilt and then there's this like curve in your lower back that happens to an extreme, or if there's maybe a tilting back. Find that neutrality, sit into your hips. Hands can come either to your heart or up, so biceps are connected close to the ears. Weight comes more into your heels, so maybe you lift your toes. Breathe here. Now everyone lift your arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, shift your arms back, palms face down, chest comes forward. Good, root into your right foot. So notice we're gonna come into balancing, and it's okay if we wobble. Pardon the barking if anything happens, it's okay. We are rooting into our right foot. Inhale, start to lift your left foot as your arms come up. Maybe your foot just hovers over the mat, and that's okay. Maybe you can lift your foot a little higher. If you bring your arms out to your side, it might help with your balance. Pull your belly button to your spine. Good. Find something to gaze at that's unmoving, and remember roots growing down through your foot. Good, we're here for 3. We'll shift back in 2 and 1. So we'll start to shift our foot back as our chest comes forward, and you can keep your arms back. So it's like airplane we're coming into for a transition. Land your back foot and then rotate it so it's parallel to the short edge of your space. We'll come into warrior 2. So set it up from here. You might bend and straighten your front leg. We're looking for alignment from our front heel to our back arch, or front heel to back heel. So make any necessary changes to get that going. And check in with your body. If coming really far forward is painful on your knee, maybe ease out gently. And then stack shoulders over your hips, arms reach out in line with one another. Imagine you're just reaching outwards on both ends, trying to grab something. Breathe here. See if you can lengthen the sides of your body, just gently rising up. It might be really subtle. And then press into the outside edge of your back foot. Inhale, reverse triangle. We'll straighten our front leg and reach our front arm back. Good. Square your hips here. So notice if one hip is pointing up, just bring them in line with one another and feel this on the side of your body. Breathe here. Always breathe. One more breath in. Exhale, we'll ease into extended side angle. Bend your front knee, shift forward with front arm, and then clock your arms to earth and sky. And pause. Where do you feel this in your body? Can you reconnect with your feet? Ground yourself into the earth. If your mind starts to wander, can you come back to your mantra or your intention? Maybe I am stable. I am supported. I am safe. Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, bring your hands down to frame your front foot. Spin your back foot forward and just start walking your front foot back to meet your back foot. If you'd like to move through a vinyasa, you're always welcome, but you're always welcome to skip it as well or take it from your knees. So remember with chaturanga, we want to bring our elbows in towards our ribs and lower no more than halfway. I like to use my knees so that I can work on my triceps, work on my form. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Once you get here, take a round of breath, maybe an open mouth exhale. Maybe shake your head. So, good. All right, let's gaze forward to the top of your space. Inhale. Exhale, travel to the top of your space. Good. Inhale, halfway lift, bring hands to shins or thighs. Exhale, fold. Chair pose is where we're headed. So sit into your chair, weight more into your heels. Bring it all the way up. Good. Breath in. Exhale, shift your arms back so palms face down, chest is forward, pull your belly button to your spine. This time we root into our left foot or your opposite foot. Yeah, nice option for a drinking bird too. All right, so rooting into left foot. Inhale, We'll lift our arms, lift our right foot, and know that any way that we go is okay. So what I mean by that is, you could still have your foot connected to the earth. It's just starting to lift up. All of us might be in different places with balance. You might lift your foot all the way up. Use your strong core, and then notice your standing leg. Are you dumping into the hip? Maybe you can reach out. Good, we're here for 3. We'll shift back to airplane in 2. In 1, start to shift the chest forward as your leg comes back, your arms come back, palms face down, and then let your back foot land. Spin your back foot so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Front foot comes forward, and then do your adjustments, maybe bending and straightening your knee, finding that alignment from front heel to back arch. Let your arms come out. Notice if one is higher up than the other. Try to find evenness. Can you extend through the sides of your body? Just growing a little taller. Inhale, reverse triangle. Straighten your front knee. Lift your front arm up and back. Notice your hips. Bring them in line with one another. And on your next exhale, shift into extended side angle. Bending your knee, reaching forward, and clocking your arms to 6 and 12 or earth and sky. Breathe here. Does this feel different than the other side? Maybe bring your attention back to your feet. Can you keep pressing into the earth? Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, cartwheel your arms, frame your front foot, spin your back toes forward. And you can bring yourself through a vinyasa, or we'll actually meet down on our knees whenever you're ready. I hope everyone's doing well. All right, something here that I think might feel good is if we open up through the back of our feet. So curl your toes under and start to sit on your heels if that feels okay. And you might find that you want to press hands into the earth a little bit if it feels like too much. Yeah, so opening up through the back of our feet. Spread your toes wide. And if you'd like, at the same time, you might roll out your wrists. You can open up your forearm by pulling fingers back towards the front of your arm, or the top of your arm. Breathe here, and if there's any other kind of things that feel like they need warming up, take this opportunity. And you might, if it feels okay, flip your feet so your toenails are connected to the earth and opening up the tops of our feet. So we're sitting on, and this might feel differently for everyone. So please know that every pose here is a suggestion. And if there's pain versus sensation, we ease out. You want to be able to sustain our practice. Good. Let's take ourselves to our back. Again, if you need water or anything, always welcome to grab it. And we'll make our way all the way down. Something I'd like to try here is supine crow. So it might be kind of funky, but this is gonna help engage our core and kind of get us into a form of crow from our backs. That is a good practice if we do ever want to try it in its regular form. So what I like to do is bring your knees as far into your armpits as you can. So maybe they'll just come to the back of your arms, and then your hands will form, let's say they're planted on the sky, they're about shoulder width apart, and spread your fingers wide. So you might find a slight bend in the elbows, just bending so that they're in line with one another, not splaying out. And try to envision this crow from your back. And I know that it might be confusing if you've never done crow, but essentially we're pressing our hands into the sky. Imagine that that's the ground. And then our knees come in the back of our arms, and you can bring your big toes to touch. Gaze, you might close your eyes. I'm looking almost into the sun, so you can close your eyes, but gaze can be maybe 6 inches in front of your hands or in front of your fingers, and then really pull your belly button to your spine. Just notice how it feels to hold this isometrically. We're here for 3. We'll release in 2 and 1. Let it go. Take up space if you want to take a full body stretch or any other counter movements. Release. And take these few moments to feel the earth beneath you, feel yourself being supported, fully supported by the ground underneath you. And notice where you might be able to let go just a little bit of any muscle tension. All right, let's bring hands behind our knees. Rock and roll the length of your spine. We'll come to a forward fold. Forward fold. Place your hands on the earth, widen your stance so that your toes are facing out and heels are facing in. And your toes might either be like coming off your mat if you have a mat, or if you don't, they're wider than hip width distance. And take caution with this and be kind to yourself. Notice how this feels as we ease into where we're going. So we're gonna come into a squat. We'll start to bend our knees. You might lift your heels, totally fine. You might need to rearrange a little bit, but we're coming into this squat position. And heels, if they're lifted, if you want to slide any blankets or anything under your heels, you're welcome to. You can use your arms to press into your legs, hands connect. Try to find a long spine, and then if it feels okay, shift a little bit side to side. So again, getting more into our hips. Breathe here. And know that your posture might look different than mine, and that's okay. Again, if this feels like it's causing pain, I encourage you to gently take your way out of it. We want to be able to sustain what we're doing. A few more moments here. Stay with your breath. And then press your hands into the earth. Make your way to a forward fold very gently. You might take ragdoll pose, paralleling your feet so they face one another, and grab for opposite elbows. Awesome. And come back to forward fold. Bring your toes a little bit closer. And this time just step your left leg back. So just walk the left leg back, and we're in a low lunge. Okay. From here, lower your back knee. And if it feels painful to lower your back knee, you can keep your back knee lifted, like if you don't have a blanket or anything. We'll come into this low lunge. So again, notice the back knee. If it feels painful, try finding a high lunge or sliding a blanket underneath. And if you'd like, shifting forward and back. Let's just bring our interlaced hands to the top of our thigh and take some gentle sways forward and back. Good. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. And then we have our right foot forward. Let's take our right hand and grab for left wrist and take a side stretch. So just notice how it feels to come over to the right, lifting really tall, and then to the side. Breathe here. Again, you're welcome to have your back knee lifted. We'll come back to center, inhale. And then exhale, plant your hands on the inside of your right foot. Lower your back knee if it's not already, and walk your front foot up and out for a runner's lunge or a lounging lizard. We'll want our front knee to be behind our ankle or stacked on top. And you can take anything here. There's lots of variations. One variation would be to have hands on top of blocks. Maybe you come down to forearms. Maybe you bend your back knee coming onto the top of your thigh and reach right arm back for a twist and a quad stretch. If you are taking a quad stretch, press your hands into the mat and come out of your shoulder. But no need to take that if you don't, if it's not in your practice. Breathe here. See where you might be able to let go of anything, any tension in the face. And then if you have forearms connected to the earth, bring hands to the earth, and we'll start to shift our hips back, walking our front foot into center, heel connected to earth, toes pull back, half splits. Know that you can bend your knee as much as you like, so it does not need to be straight. The goal here is to feel sensation in the back of our leg and breathe. Check in with your back knee, make any adjustments if it's feeling like it's not working, if it like it's hurting. Let's shift forward onto our front foot. Walk your hands up, curl your back toes under, lift your back knee, and walk your front foot back. Downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs. First take an exhale. Deep inhale, fill all the way up. Open mouth, exhale, let something go. Good. Walk to the top of your space on an inhale. And this time we'll bring our right foot back. So coming into a low lunge, just walk your right foot back. And you might be able to lower down to your back knee. Again, notice how that feels. It might be different on this side. Otherwise, keep your back knee lifted, and we're coming into a crescent lunge. So this is our low crescent lunge with our knee back, and a high lunge would be with our back knee lifted. You can bring hands anywhere that feels good. You might connect them to the top of your thigh and shift forward and back. Stay with your breath. Check in with your jaw, with your face, release tension. Good, and then let's bring our arms overhead. And this time, grab for your right wrist and take a side body stretch over to the left. Wherever you are, just notice even a subtle feeling here. Hi, Sydney. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, plant your hands on the inside of your left foot. Lower your back knee if it's not already, and walk your front foot up and out so that you have plenty of space in front of you. You might shift forward, connecting hands to the earth, or maybe forearms. Breathe here. Try dropping your chin to your chest. You'll see how that feels, where you feel sensation. And remember, if you have your hands connected to the earth, press your finger pads into the mat to take some pressure out of your wrists. Come back to your intention, to your mantra, if your mind is wandering. Always an option too. If you took that quad stretch on the other side, you're welcome to take one. Make sure we're coming onto the top of our thigh, so we're not actually on our knee if we do this. All right, let's shift. Press hands into the earth. Shift your hips back. Walk your front foot into center, and we'll take half splits. Remember, your front knee does not need to be straight. It can be super bent. Just take it somewhere where you feel sensation. Let's keep your heart lifted before you find any melting down. And stay with your breath. Pay attention to the point where you're like, I need to get out of this. And not because of pain, but because of uncomfortability. Can you stay with your breath for a few more moments? And let's shift our front foot forward. Walk your hands up, curl your back toes under, and walk your front foot to meet your back foot. Very good. We'll walk to the top of our space and then rotate to face the side of your mat. Let's widen our stance. Bring your big toes pointing out and heels in, and sit into horse or goddess pose. And you can take a variation or various hand position here. So you could bring your arms out. You might bring hands to your heart. And then something I like to do if you'd like to find some twists is bringing hands to your inner thighs. Press your chest forward, inhale. Exhale, dip one of your shoulders, twist to the side. Inhale, connect back to center. And exhale, twist to the other side. Take a couple of these on your own. Make sure to balance it out. You might also experiment with lifting one heel and then the other, strengthening through our calves, through our legs. Once you've balanced it out, let's inhale to star pose, and then spin your feet so that they're parallel to the short edge of your mat. Tee your arms out. Remember, reconnect with your breath. Notice if there are any feelings of lightheadedness or anything, you have tools to help you. Dropping chin to your chest. All right, inhale, arms come overhead so our feet are parallel to the short edge of our mat. And exhale, let's hinge at our hips. Wide-legged forward fold. Melt it down. Hands connect wherever they land. Gaze, if it feels okay to keep your head below your heart, maybe gaze through your legs. You can keep your head lifted in line with your heart if you'd like by coming into a halfway lift. So just check in with what feels okay for you. Remember to breathe. You can bring more weight into your toes. Maybe you take some twists. You can grab left hand to right ankle and open up to the side. And take the other side. Nice. Let's all take a halfway lift together, hands into the earth, shoulder blades come onto your back, belly button pulls to your spine. And release, exhale. Let's pivot our feet forward and start to walk our hands forward. So we've got all 10 toes pointing forward. Walk your back foot up and out slightly. So you have kind of a warrior one stance. So our right foot is still up at the top of our mat, and our back foot is, at a 45-degree angle. So think warrior one. And if this feels like a lot with your hands down on the earth, soften your knee and start to lift up to standing. And maybe, in fact, we all come to standing here. All right, so we're in this kind of standing pyramid. Let's bring our hands either to your heart, or you can grab for your forearms and your lower back. What we want to do is start to shift forward as if we're peering into a pond in front of our feet. So extending your chest, your head forward, and take it as far down as feels okay. So you can stay lifted as much as you'd like, or you might release your hands and connect to the earth. Notice where you feel sensation. Keep rooting through both feet. Breathe. Engage your core by pulling your belly button to your spine. We're here for 3. We'll lower our hands down in 2. In 1, release your hands, walk back foot forward, forward fold. You might shake out your hands, shake out your head, release any extra energy that's lingering, and then walk your right foot back or your opposite foot. Slowly make your way up to standing. So we've got warrior one feet, and that means we've got a little bit of a wider stance. Back foot's at a 45-degree angle, front foot's forward, but all our legs are straight, all 2 legs. Okay, so you might find, if you want to shorten your stance a bit, take your arm position, maybe a different one from last time. You can bring hands to heart or grab for opposite elbows and lift your heart. And then start to peer over into an imaginary pond that's in front of your mat. So we're really extending the crown of our head forward. And then find your position where it feels comfortable to stop. You might find that you can release your hands and bring them all the way down to the earth, but that might not be accessible. So you could stay a little bit higher up. We're here for 3. Release hands to the earth in 2 and 1. Soften your front knee, bring front foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Let's make our way down to tabletop, so you can come down to your knees. Nice. And from here, I'd like to take camel pose. So just know that this is a pose that can create a lot of sensation or bring up a lot of sensation because it's a huge heart opener. But there's many layers that you can take so you can pick your position. So we'll stack hips over knees. You might form two fists to find enough space between your knees. So that might give you a good gauge of how far your knees would be apart. If you do want to put something comfy, some cushion under your knees, maybe a blanket or a pillow, that might be a good option. We'll come to stand on our knees, and then we'll move our arms back. So lift your right arm up ahead of you and overhead, and then bring it back behind you so that your fingers, so your palms pressing into your lower back, fingers point down. Take it with the other hand as well. What we want is that our elbows are reaching back towards one another. Fingers point down, pressing into our lower back. So you might take it a little bit lower. Yeah, good. Inhale, lift your heart, send your gaze up, and imagine that your back is going over a big beach ball. And so you might stay here. You might find a little bit more back. If you want to curl toes under, you might reach back for your ankles, but know that this is not, or for your Achilles tendon, but know this is not, it's not required. Take open mouth exhales wherever you are. One last round. And start to walk your way back up and sit on your heels if that feels okay. Option to bring chin to chest, hands connect to your thighs. Breathe. Trust that whatever comes up or doesn't come up is perfectly okay, and that we have our safe space here to allow for those things to come up or not come up. Shift on to one of your hips to swing your feet forward, and we'll maybe remove some flesh from our glutes, or you might slide a blanket. You'll sit on the blanket just at the edge so that your pelvis starts to tip forward. This can help with our seated forward fold. So no, that's an option for you. Knees can be bent or straight, legs straight out, or legs out. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. And exhale, lead with your heart. Seated forward fold. Breathe here. Flex your toes back towards your shins. And gently start to walk your hands up your thighs. You can shift yourself a little bit forward so that you can melt all the way down to the earth. My mat is pitch black and it's so hot in the sun. Wow. All right, from here, let's stamp our feet on the earth, bend your knees, heels might come in super close to your glutes. Bring your arms down by your side and you might be able to touch your heels, and it's okay if you can't, but that's the idea, is kind of how inward we're coming. With shoulders connected to the earth, start to lift your hips, and you might stay here, or you might shimmy your shoulders under your heart, forming a fist at your lower back. And notice where your knees go. Keep them in line with your hips. Maybe let go of your glutes and see what muscles fire up. Breathe. We'll release in 3, in 2, in 1. Release your grip if you have it. Lower all the way down. Widen your foot stance and knock your knees in. Option to bring one hand to belly, one hand to heart, or you might give yourself a hug by wrapping your arms around your body. Breathe. Release any grip you might have taken. Bring knees into your chest. Massage your lower back by rocking side to side. We'll take another happy baby. Notice how this one feels compared to the beginning of class, not for judgment, but Just checking in and noticing the subtleties that might have changed throughout our practice. Remember to breathe. All right, bring knees into your chest. Extend your left leg long out in front of you. So long, your left leg comes to connect to the mat. Interlace your fingers over your right shin and guide your thigh into your armpit. Find a gentle squeeze. And then guide your knee over your body to the left side. Right arm goes long. You might shimmy or move your bottom hip in towards center to find a deeper twist. You might gaze to the right or the left. Try to let go of effort here. So notice if you're trying to reach your leg, your knee down to the earth, let go of that. Let's bring everything back into center. Switch out your legs this time. Right leg extends long, connects to the earth. Left thigh into your armpit. Interlace fingers over your shin. So you might need to guide the thigh around your rib cage. Find your compression, a gentle squeeze, and then draw your knee to the right side of your body. Left arm goes long. Maybe your bottom hip inches a bit closer to center. You find your gaze, option to settle the eyes closed. Again, let go of effort. Good. Let's bring knees back into center. Bring them into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins and pull your forehead into your knees. Give yourself a big squeeze. Say thank you to yourself. Maybe repeat a mantra or come back to your intention and then release. Find your final resting posture, Shavasana. Take up space. And then I invite you to do a body scan before you fully let go. And I'll guide you out when the time comes, but this is your time. From wherever you might have drifted, start to bring your awareness back to the present moment, to your breath. You might take that 3-part breath we did at the beginning, filling up your lower belly first, then your lower lungs, then all the way to the top of your chest. And take that on the exhale if that feels right. Start making tiny movements in fingers and toes. Maybe squeezing your eyes closed and then just releasing that tension, opening and closing your jaw. And start to make your way into a full body stretch, arms overhead, take up space as if you're just waking up. And when you're ready, shift into a supported fetal position. You can bring knees into your chest and come onto either side, resting on your bicep if you'd like. Using this moment as a symbol of rebirth or something new coming from something old. Make your way into a tall seat at the top of your mat or wherever you are, really. Bring your hands to your heart. Settle your eyes closed if it feels okay. And just notice your breath. Come back to your intention. Good, let's bring our thumbs to our third eye center, the space between our eyebrows, our seat of intuition. The teacher and student in me sees, honors, acknowledges the teacher and student in all that came before, in all of you, in all things. Together we bow. Namaste.